Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to start off by apologizing about the lighting. I probably talk about it again in the demo, but it's raining really badly outside. Super dark. It feels like it's 7 o'clock at night in here, 8 o'clock at night. And so I've had to manipulate my lights. I've had to change my ISO on my computer. So I hope that this video turns out. So just wanted to say that. But this is going to be a review on the brand new Tom Ford Soleil Flawless Glow Foundation. I talked about this in my Sephora haul. No, you cannot get it on Sephora. At least I don't think you can. I will link it down below if you can. But at the time that I did my Sephora haul, it was only available at Nordstrom. Maybe one other place, but that's where I got it. And this is the box that it comes in. Super gold, reflective. Doesn't tell you much on the box except for the ingredients, which we'll get to in a minute. This is Tom Ford, so you know it's not going to be $20. This is an $87 foundation. It does have the typical standard 1 ounce. See, the way Nordstrom does it is they take away the color if they're out of stock, so I can't see exactly how many colors, but I think there's 23 in the line. I talked about in my haul that the actual color range is pretty abysmal, and I stand to that. I do not think that the colors are dark enough. And I don't think, honestly, let me see what the lightest color that I could see here is really pink. And not all fair girls have pink undertones. So, I don't know. I think they could do better with the color range. I am in the color 6.0 Natural. I do find that this works really well for me. So, I'm happy with the color that I chose. I don't know if this is limited edition. It doesn't say on Nordstrom that it is. If y'all know whether it is or not, let me know. But being part of the summer collection, typically those don't stay forever, so I don't know. Let me know if you don't. If you know. How many times am I going to say that? Okay. What this is, a lightweight gel serum foundation with sheer to medium coverage and a satin finish that glows without adding shine. Hydrates the skin, protects from UV rays and pollution. So I will say, let's talk about the ingredients real quick. This does not have any alcohol, any fragrance. It's paraben-free, sulfate-free, phthalate-free, formaldehyde-free, mineral oil, retinol palmitate, oxybenzone, coal tar, hydroquinone, triclosan, and trichlocarbon free. All right, so that's great. I love it. That's one of the main reasons I was so excited to try it, that and the fact that it had glow in the title. However, this is not 100% physical sunscreen. I like to point out the actual sunscreen ingredients in products that have sunscreen because some people are just not comfortable wearing chemical sunscreens because of, you know, potential harmful nature of it. Some people are allergic to chemical sunscreens and some people are allergic to physical sunscreens. So I always like to tell what's in it. I personally am not a fan of chemical. Octinoxate, which is in this, is not as bad as oxybenzone. However, it's still not great. It's made up of some not so flattering synthetic ingredients. Not my favorite. However, for me, I never rely on my foundation for SPFs. And I typically have about 15 layers of skincare on before I apply my foundation. So I'm not as worried about that. But if you are allergic or sensitive to chemical sunscreens, you're going to want to stay away. It's octinoxate 5%, titanium dioxide 3.1, and zinc oxide 2.2. It's SPF 30. Again, I never suggest relying on any foundation or BB cream or anything to give you the amount of SPF coverage you need, but that's what it is. It also has a unique moisture complex of red fruit extracts, including watermelon, lychee seed, and apple. So again, if you're allergic to any of those, you're going to want to stay clear. Together, they increase water held by skin cells. The result is immediately supple and hydration-packed skin with a satin finish that glows without added shine. The buildable foundation gives skin a healthy-looking, fresh glow and provides protection too. So, is that true or is that false? That is what I'm here to decide and show you today. So, if you want to see how this works on my skin and how it holds up throughout the day, then let's go ahead and get into the demo. Okay, let's go ahead and get into application. I don't have anything but skincare on, and if you can believe it or not, I did not use oil this morning. I know that I'm very glowy, but this is just the finish that my skincare provides. But I didn't want to add an extra oil because I didn't want to have that kind of sway the finish of the foundation. So we're going to take it. You know, the instructions say you can use your fingers, your sponge, or your brush. I personally do not ever use sponges with foundations like these. If it has like a serum and its description or its title, or if I know it's super liquidy, I don't use a sponge because it is going to really eat up a lot of the product. I'm going to have to use twice as much. And quite honestly, I spent $87 on this thing. I don't want to use any more product than I have to. So I use a brush. I've not tried this with my fingers. There are very few foundations that I like with my fingers. The thinner they are, I do think they work better with your fingers. However, they also are messier when you use your fingers. So I'm going to use a brush. I have tried my Sephora Pro 78 brush, but I'm also going to be using my It Cosmetics brush because y'all know this one never, ever, ever fails me. So again, I'm in the color 6.0 Natural. I'm going to take a whole dropper full onto my hand, and I'm afraid to show you the color because it's going to fall, but I'm going to be really quick. That's the color. That's the consistency. It's running off my hand. So I'm going to take just a little bit of that, dot it onto my face. And y'all, I'm really sorry about the lighting. I hope there's not a glare, but it is raining really badly outside. It looks like it's 7 o'clock at night, and it is in fact 9 o'clock in the morning. So I apologize about that, but this is the only day that I can do this video. So I'm just going to stamp that on, stipple it just like I do all my foundations. So you can see I'm definitely going to take the color down my neck. I do personally think the color is pretty spot on for me, but you can see this side with the foundation and then this side without. So I do have my normal redness. I love that natural highlight. I love it when I see that when I don't have a highlight on. So like I have my normal like stripe of redness right here. You can still see that on this side. I hope it's coming through, y'all. I hope that I don't have to redo this video once I edit it. You can still see it. So it's a sheer coverage foundation. It gave me color, but it's not giving me a lot of coverage. Now, it doesn't claim to. It says it's a sheer to medium coverage. We're going to see if we actually think that it can be built up to medium. But right now, that's what it looks like upon first application. Now, I did not put a primer on this side. I am going to put one on this side just to see if it makes a difference. I'm going to use my Revlon Photo Ready Pore Reducing Primer. Just a little bit. I have used this primer with this foundation. I have used the foundation with absolutely no primer on. I will speak to that later, but I just want to put a little bit just right there and a little bit on my forehead. I do need to finish up this side of my forehead, don't I? Okay, now I'm going to finish up over here. This blends out very, very easily. It is extremely lightweight, as you could probably deduce from just seeing the consistency of the foundation after it's applied to my hand. It's so lightweight. I mean, and that really translates into how it feels throughout the day. And then I have some left, so I'm going to bring it down on my neck. I love the color. I think the color is, like I said, I really do think it's perfect for me. It matches, you know, my arms and my chest. Okay, so, I mean, it's sheer to light coverage. I feel like that provided me some light coverage. It covered up my redness enough to where I personally don't feel like it needs to be built upon. Sorry if my palette keeps going up. I personally don't think it needs to be built upon. Like, I am completely A-okay with this amount of coverage. I used one dropper full of foundation. I will use a little bit more just so you can see if it will do any kind of building on my most red spots. But for me, I would stop here. I just don't feel like I need much more. So I'm just going to put a little bit more, pick it up on my brush. And then just like right here, I'm going to see, I hope y'all saw that. That did build up very nicely. So now I don't see the redness as much. So I think that builds up very nicely to a solid light to medium coverage. I would not call this a medium coverage. I mean, I have other foundations that I would call a medium coverage and they provide more coverage than this one. I would call it a nice light to medium, but you can also sheer it out. and like I just showed, build it up. So as far as the finish, it says a satin finish. I quite think it's a little bit luminous. Now, y'all saw how my skin was when I first started. So that obviously is going to have some kind of influence on the finish, but I don't think it's satin. I think it's more of a radiant, luminous finish, but it's gorgeous. I don't know what y'all think. Did I even put some on my forehead up here? I did. I think that this finish is gorgeous. This finish is right up my alley. It's youthful. It doesn't accentuate anything. It just looks good. So let me do a little close up. Let me get right up in y'all's face. These lights, I'm sorry. I really wish I had some natural light today, but I just don't. So this is the foundation. Again, this is the side I put the primer on, and then this is the side I didn't. Holy cow, maybe? So that's the side I didn't put the primer on. I personally don't see much difference right off the bat between the two sides. Now, we'll see if it makes a difference on how it wears throughout the day, but I don't see that much of a difference. So I'm going to finish up my makeup, and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is with my finished makeup on. I did not use any cream products on top of it today, but I have in the past, and they've worked perfectly fine. So let me do a close-up real quick so you can see. Don't pay attention to my under eyes. I put way too much powder on. That's another story. But this is the way the foundation looks with everything on top of it. I use the Well People Bio Brightener powder. Y'all know that's one of my favorites. I don't know, I feel like it kept its finish, but it mattified it a little bit. I am super happy with the way this looks right now. We are gonna go throughout the day and see how it holds up. I know how it holds up. I've worn it like 5 times before, which I've probably already told y'all. But I'm gonna let y'all see how it holds up. I honestly don't know if I'm working out. I'm going to a friend's house for lunch and I have to run some errands. And if I have time, I'm gonna work out later on. If I don't work out, I will certainly touch on how it holds up through a workout and the final review. So I will see you in a second, and for me, it'll be hours and hours. All right, guys, it is currently 7:30. I have had this makeup on for 10.5 hours, so I think that's a pretty good wear time. I did not end up working out today, but I did lots of stuff. So I still feel like I gave it a good wear for the video's sake. And again, I have worked out in this before. So let's go ahead and get to talking about how it held up. I personally think that it held up really well. Every other time that I have worn it, it's held up really well. Depending on what powder I use with it, I sometimes feel like I get a little shiny and I need to touch up. Really, I feel like I've only had that issue with the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Powder. I have not touched up today. The level of shine that I have on my face right now is A-okay with me. It's when it starts getting greasy looking that I feel like I need to touch up. But again, I did not feel like that today. As far as what side looks better, okay, first of all, I want to say I can see, you know, my redness a little bit more than when I first applied it. So I would say the coverage has worn off just a tad bit, but it's not enough to be like super noticeable, at least not to me. Now, as far as how, let me get really close for you. As far as how it has held up, you know, on the primer side versus the non-primer side, I honestly don't think that it's that much different on me. I've tried other primers with it, and I think it looks good with a primer. I think it looks good without a primer. For some reason today, I am having a little bit of wear on my forehead. Like right here, it's kind of patched off. I haven't had that issue before, so I'm not sure what it is. I mean, I've used it with this powder. I don't know if I've knocked my head on something or what, because I will say that this does transfer. If you are somebody who absolutely cannot stand to wear a foundation that transfers, then you are not going to want to wear this. I don't go around hugging everybody in the world, and if I do, I tend not to hug their jacket or their shirt. So I'm pretty aware of that throughout the day. I don't have an issue with it transferring on other people's clothes, but it does leave a good, like if I'm sitting here talking on the phone and I pull it out, it leaves a good amount of product on there. I don't feel like it takes it visibly off my face, but it does transfer onto other things. So keep that in mind. As far as the wear time throughout a workout, I have not had a problem with it. If anything, it will wear off by, you know, on my forehead. Some of my longest lasting foundations do that if I sweat a lot. But, you know, a couple of workouts I didn't have that issue with it. I felt like it held up pretty nicely. My favorite combo with it has been the Ilia True Skin Serum Primer and the Flower Setting Powder. I mean, that's probably not a surprise to y'all. Again, I don't think the primer is necessary. It may have just been the powder that made it look so good, but I really do like that powder with it. But I also like other powders with it too. So, who is this good for? I don't think if you have oily skin, you're going to like it. I just don't know if it's going to last on you because it is so thin that it is going to tend to break up easier, I feel like. And it is also a pretty radiant foundation. So I just don't know if it's going to be something oily skin people are really going to want. Normal to dry skin people, if you like a really lightweight, can't feel it, doesn't sink into lines, easy to blend out with your fingers or a brush, light sheer to light medium coverage type of foundation, you are going to love this. I personally love this. I know it's weird because when I did my Wander Beauty foundation review, at the end of the day, it looked so good. And it was the first time I tried it without a primer. And I told you all that I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I wasn't excited to use it. And then this one has worn off a little bit on my forehead, and I'm telling you how much I love it. I don't always make sense. Never going to claim to, but I always tell the truth. And for some reason, I really like this foundation on me. I wish that it wasn't chemical sunscreen, but other than that, the fact that it doesn't have alcohol, it doesn't have fragrance, it's a huge plus for me. And it's so lightweight. I really reach for these kind of foundations. The Kosas Tinted Oil, the Ilia True Serum Foundation. This one, like, that's the type of foundations that I reach for in the summer because I do not want to feel my makeup at all. I want them to be very lightweight, but very glowy. And this fits the bill. You know what? I've been itching this all day, so maybe that's why it is coming off. I don't know. But dry combination skin, normal dry combo skin, any age, I feel like is going to enjoy this. If you can find a shade, huge con about that and a con that it transfers. Other than that, I absolutely love it. If you can't tell. I have been wearing it every day for the past 6 days. And tomorrow I'm going to start filming my top 5 favorite foundation videos. And so I'm going to use another one, and I'm kind of sad that I'm not going to use that one because I really do enjoy it so much. So hopefully this was a comprehensive view and review of the Tom Ford Soleil Flawless Glow Foundation. And you got some questions answered. If not, always feel free to leave them down in the comment section below, and I will answer them to the very best of my ability. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure and subscribe and like before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. And I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day.